No sé si habría tiempo para una pregunta. So now is open for questions.
This question is for Yuan. Actually, you mentioned about these barriers in the rollout of 5G services for the smart cities. I want to know, are service providers sharing infrastructure in cities? And second part, is there any revenue sharing arrangement with the government? You mentioned about high taxes. And the third part, you mentioned about the health concerns. Now, in the health concerns, what was the reaction of the people when you were rolling out 4G services?
Thank you for the question. In the first place, yes, infrastructure sharing is taking place, and the industry very much welcomes that practice. It creates efficiencies and it avoids duplications. But what we want to state is that it should not be an obligation. It should not be mandated. It should be the result of bilateral agreements between those concerned, but not because of obligations, because obligations have another problem, that it harms the incentives for continuous investment. It can have a negative effect on competition and on investment. The second question was referred to the health concerns, and in that case, we have, especially in small locations, we have faced this kind of problem. The people is afraid. The people thinks that if we install an antenna near, they will get cancer or something like that. So there is a lot of work that the industry is doing in some countries just to give a message of about what the evidence says, what the International Organization for the Health says, what the industry is following the recommendations in the power of the emissions and so on. So there is nothing to be afraid of. So, and that is a role that has to do not only the industry, also the government, because the government also wants to promote connectivity. So that is a very important role that we have. Also the universities, the academia, that are the scientists that do the research, also have a very important role to play there. There are some very good initiatives that have taken place, for instance, in Peru, that is called Mass Antenas, developed by AFIN, a local chamber, that is very good because it was focused to the people, for the people to get the message, to understand, to be informed, and not to be afraid. But it's a process, and there is still some way to go. Probably now the people is less afraid than some years ago, but we have to continue working in that way. And the other question was about taxation. Yes, there is a lot of high taxation in Latin America, not only local communities, also national governments, also in the case of spectrum allocation process. We have made a study in which we found out that the telecommunications sector in Latin America has 50% more taxes than the average of all the other sectors of the economy. So it is seen as a sector that can be used to collect fiscal resources. And that is a problem, because if we are talking about massifying these services, it is a problem to tax them, avoid the mean, over the mean. So there is a lot of work to do in that sense.
Yeah, coming back to the first question, actually you mentioned that there has to be some incentive. Of course, sharing of infrastructure is fine. But, you know, if we go by that logic, then there will be a challenge, because everybody will dig because 5G involves rollout of a lot of fiber. So if everybody digs his own way, there will be chaos in the city. So how do you take care of that concern, if you feel that there should be some incentivization for people?
No, I think it's very important, not only among telecommunications operator, also to share infrastructure with other utilities, with the electric companies, with the water companies. That policy of big ones is very, very much important in the case of fiber, for instance, or about introducing fiber in every new building. There are a lot of good practices that we support and we want to promote. And what we ask for the local governments is to provide facilities for that sharing to happen. For instance, a map of infrastructures can help to see when we are going to plan the deployments, where is every infrastructure, not only of telecom, of everything. That kind of information can facilitate this practice.
Solo agradecer de nuevo al ITU por haber confiado en Valencia para esta jornada, y al Ayuntamiento por haber contado con nosotros, y por supuesto a toda la mesa redonda. Y bueno, creo que hemos estado más o menos on time, teniendo en cuenta que hemos empezado un poquito también más tarde. Pues nada, es el momento de disfrutar del café y de hacer networking. Muchas gracias.